future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
This. Hi, welcome back to Plus This. I'm Kathy Deitch.
And I am Eva Tingley.
And we are riding by the seat of our pants.
Not we.
Me, I'm sorry.
I was here at promptly 5:33.
You really were.
And I did think to text you, and I should have.
Guys, I never tried to use my timer before on my phone because I didn't want to set my alarm for 10 minutes. I was like, it's 10 minutes. I'll just put my little timer on for 10 minutes and it'll go bing. Except for I've never done that before and I did it for 10 hours.
And then she woke up and was like, oh my God. Just driving through LA like,
almost murdered small families.
I mean, causing
literally
chaos.
Rain started happening.
Thundering. It was like booming.
It really was.
Really, I could hear it. I could hear it.
It was. It's like it's raining now in LA, and that makes people drive even worse.
Oh, it's like people get very scared here to drive in the wet.
They do because it's all slippery.
Yeah, because it never rains. So like the oil builds up, and then once the second the rain goes, it's like real slack.
Comes up. Yeah, but I was like around corners.
She like peeled it and like just parallel parked like.
I did. I got a spot right out front. I was like, ooh. I like was praying to Mary the whole time. I was like, Mother Mary, if you please, get me a spot out front in this rain. Because of course I don't have an umbrella.
Right.
Whatever.
Of course not. Of
just
course.
Drama. Just giving drama. So we have a hot topic show today.
Oh, that's all we're talking about is hot topics.
So we want you guys to go to our Facebook page for sure.
I mean, if you're not already there right
now. And I'm gonna try to get online with my new computer. We're gonna try to do
Kathy
that at
is
the break,
it's
though.
just Mercury retrograde. She's just like, I don't know.
Nothing.
I'm just pushing all the buttons.
That's exactly. Like literally, and I want to Hulk smash everything. Like I just want to break it all. I even had a moment while I was pulling my hair up into some kind of concoction after having it pressed sweaty against my face. I literally was like, God, you need to do my hair for me. Like I literally was like, had like a weird like child like tantrum over my ponytails. I mean, it's so dumb. Anyway, but
and your hair looks great.
Oh, thanks. We
and you look very studious with your gloss.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. It's another nice little Mercury in retrograde. Your contacts rip, guys. Sometimes in your eyeball.
Ow.
And so
that's not fun.
I'm like little secretary.
Yeah, she's like a sexy librarian over there, just like cha-cha.
Yeah, and my little Melissa Massey ruched. And you're like hot print.
I mean, look, can we just talk about Melissa Massey for a hot second? I know we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but like, I love this dress so much. Okay, so this is what happened. I went to Melissa Massey's store and she was like, okay, here's what's coming in the fall. And she like showed me this fabric. And I was like, I want it. I don't care what dress it is. I want it. She was like, yeah, but it's going to be. And I'm like, no, you're not hearing me. This is me living my life in black and white and colors. Like everything I want in a dress, this dress has.
It's awesome. And
it's so beautiful and it's so comfortable.
Her wrap dresses are so amazing. Yeah.
It's the best.
I'm not going to lie. This dress, you'll see in photos later, guys. It's very body conscious for me. It's real slinky.
It's real slinky.
And I definitely have on like the super duper Spanx on.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you had time to put on the Spanx. Did you sleep in them?
Did I? I'm here.
Oh.
I didn't sleep in them, no.
Oh.
So that was another thing when you're sweaty from sleep trying to put on Spanx.
That's a fun Spanx dance.
I needed talcum powder. And I didn't have it to just wrangling.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall in Kathy Deitch's apartment.
Oh, it's a bummer you guys weren't there with me. It was really
That's like when we would have been like, why are we not filming this?
Exactly.
Why are we not filming this?
Yeah, for sure.
You guys miss a lot.
Yes.
when Kathy and I are together.
Yes. One day we'll
a lot
get
of
our
shenanigans.
Wish. One day we'll get our wish to tell the world. Just need people following us around.
Of the goofiness that happens with us.
Well, we wanted to definitely thank you for hanging in with us last week. And of course, we missed Glozell, but she's so generous and was like, I want to come back as soon as you guys will have me. It was just like a really rough week. And I know that Eva wanted to talk to you a little bit about something that she got to experience with her dad. We had talked about the Lindy West NPR interview.
Yeah, This American Life podcast.
Yeah, and how she said she felt like she had to like come out as fat to people.
Yeah.
Like, it's like if you're working on trying not to be fat, you never dare say the word fat. Like, you never describe yourself as fat. You're just dieting.
Or you're just like living in the world hoping that nobody notices that maybe you're fat. Like, you're just kind of like skirting by, hoping that nothing happens or no one says anything to you or nobody notices that you might be fat.
Right. That you're passing.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It was a really... What she said, she had a hard time with the terms coming out as fat. Because obviously it's not really a secret.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody can see that already.
Yeah. But there's something about, like, owning that word as a descriptor that is really personal. And like,
yeah, I mean, and we've had conversations about some of our mutual friends who don't identify that way.
Yeah.
And we're kind of like, okay, like,
we could totally trade wardrobes and you don't feel that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, we could totally.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's their own journey. And, you know, it took me a long time to be able to say I'm fat. And I still think that if someone caught me in the wrong moment and was like, you're fat, it still would be hurtful.
Yeah.
I mean, some days I would probably just laugh, but, you know, some days I would just be like, ah.
Right.
You know,
right.
It just depends.
Right.
And it's a journey. It's not something that's just cut and dry, right?
Right. So sadly this weekend, Eva's dad passed away.
Yeah.
And he lived a long life. He was 80 years old, and honestly, it's a miracle he was alive, quite honestly, in a lot of ways, that he ever survived his childhood.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad turned deaf. I don't know if you guys know this, but both my parents are deaf. And deaf culturally, not deaf because they, like, turn deaf in old age. Like, I know sign language, the whole thing. And my dad turned deaf because he had whooping cough when he was a baby. You know, and like whooping cough is coming back now. It's like a big deal. Like, everyone's like, make sure you don't touch my baby unless you have your PlusThis shot. So it's like a thing that's coming back. And it was really, you know, something that affected my dad because he like coughed so hard he like blew out his eardrums.
Oh dear. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And you know, he didn't have like the greatest childhood, and he wasn't respected in a lot of ways.
And yet he has such a beautiful family. I mean, like, to not only survive but to thrive.
Yeah.
And your mom and dad just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary,
which was so great. Like, for so many years, my dad would say, like, at every event, like at my sister's wedding, at my wedding, like, he was like, I want to wear a red, white, and blue tux or red, white, and blue suit. And we'd be like, no. no, that's not happening, Dad. Sorry. But at his 50th, we were like, Dad, this is the one. You get to wear a red, white, and blue suit. Like, you get to do it. And he actually looked so great. Like, he was so dapper. He was wearing a blue suit with a white shirt and a red bow tie and a red pocket square and some white shoes. And he was just so snazzy, and he just felt so great, and he was in such high spirits. And, you know, my mom and dad renewed their vows, and it was just really, really lovely, and I'm really glad that we got that opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. And you are glad you had an opportunity to talk to him about your weight.
Yeah. I mean, my dad and I have had a very... My sisters would say that I'm my dad's favorite. he would not have agreed with them. He would say, I love you all equally, but if Eva asks me to do something, I'll do it. So it was like a weird relationship where my dad was quite the curmudgeon, and if we needed him to do something, I would be the one who would bring it up, because I would have had a way that with him, that like, I guess I knew the best way to manipulate him, I suppose. Like, even when we had to take him to the hospital, he was like, no, I'm fine. I don't need to go to the hospital. And I'd be like, no, Dad, no. I'm going to the hospital. I need you to go with me to the hospital. And then he was like, oh, that? Okay. And then by the time, we got there, trickery was underway. So that was kind of my relationship with my dad. And one day we were in the kitchen, and I don't even know how it really came up, but I just said to my dad, hey, I just want you to know that I'm fat. And he was kind of like, what? And I was like, I just, I'm not sure if you know this, but I'm fat. Like, I'm a fat person. And he was like, you're you. Like he didn't, like, he almost didn't know how to process it. Right, he was like, right. You're Eva. Like, you're just you. Like, it doesn't even matter, And it was a really, really nice moment. My sister was kind of in the kitchen observing and smiling on, and my mom was kind of like looking at me like, what are you doing? But, my dad just loved me. It didn't even matter.
Yeah. Yeah. And he saw you for you. And, like, that's all we really want out of life, is that we want to be seen, right? I mean, like, that's it. And that was sort of like his confirmation that, like, he saw you.
Yeah. Like, he saw me and not, like, my body. And that he knew that I was more than that.
Yeah. 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 And that's a real blessing, because some people don't get that from their parents. Their parents go and they never hear those words. And, they, after time, like, sort of reconcile their relationship with their parents. And, my mom, especially, my mom lost her mom when she was in her 30s. And I think my grandmother was 58. And
gosh, that's so young.
I know. And they really had it out. They really, like, clashed on a lot of things. And my mom, I know, did not have that closure with my grandmother. And
which must be so hard, because I feel like I didn't tell my dad enough that I loved him or hugged him enough.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if there would ever be enough. Right. If I hugged him every single day or 10 times a day, I don't know that it's ever enough.
Right.
But I do know that, like, I know that he knows that I loved him. And I know that my sisters both feel like they got something that they needed from him. My dad told my sister a couple weeks ago how proud he was of her, which was a big deal, because, like, my dad was not somebody who was, this sounds terrible, but he was like, he had a weird thing about the word pride, like being prideful. And so he felt like he couldn't say, I'm proud of you. So the fact that, like, I just told my sister, I'm like, it feels like it's more than I love you for him to say that to her.
Right.
And so I think my sister really needed that. And, we would toast all the time and talk about how blessed we were and how we live like kings. And, we have a wonderful family. And I know that he said to my mom that, I have, like, they were driving home from church, I guess, the week before. And he, like, was saying, I have such a wonderful wife. I'm so loved, and I have such a wonderful wife. And so my mom got that. And, we all kind of had our own little thing. And even if, mine was coming out to my dad as being fat, and him just being like, you're you and I love you. It doesn't matter what you look like.
Right. Right. I love that you guys had that conversation. And I think that's a great place to pause.
Okay.
Because who the hell wants to talk about a hot topic right after that? So, but we're going to take a commercial, guys. And when we come back, we're going to have hot topics. So we want to hear from you. I'm going to figure out how this computer works.
Fingers crossed, guys.
We'll answer all your questions. We'll see you in a minute.
You know that 67% of American women are size 14 and above.
You mean they look like this?
Yeah, girl.
So then where are we in television and film?
And where are we in fashion magazines and clothing stores?
Yeah.
So we want to help out entertainment and fashion and media. Catch the F up.
Topics get hot. We want to hear what y'all have to say.
And they will get hot.
Absolutely.
I have a question for you. It's kind of like a dirty little one. So if you had to do a love scene with somebody else famous, who would it be?
Oscar Isaac.
Love how I asked you that and you had an answer like right away.
We sang, we laughed, we cried. We
You gotta
actually
go
didn't
back.
cry.
No, we didn't cry.
We didn't cry.
Everybody should be able to be seen in, I mean, maybe not every single campaign, but let's try to include it in as many campaigns as we can.
Witchy poo, we told you.
We're just putting it in
We're
the
gonna
cauldron for
meditate. We're
you.
gonna get those candles.
Yeah.
People are having sex with us. We need to show that we're like part of this society, and being sexual is part of that.
Absolutely.
So tough titty, you're fucking uncomfortable.
Watch a fat girl love herself.
Applause, applause,
But just us.
applause.
Just us.
Applauding.
Thanks. So good.
Plus this.
Guys, Kathy Deitch figured it out.
I did.
She got on the Wi-Fi and she can see all the things.
It says now there's no internet connection. It just might be weak on my side. Let me switch it. Watch this, guys. Oh my God, there's a computer on the screen.
Oh my gosh, she has a brand new computer. But in the meantime, while Kathy Deitch is figuring that out, we have to talk a little bit about the Berkeley County School District in South Carolina.
Yes, we do.
There was at Stratford High School, the principal was, I don't know.
Still there.
Heather
still
Taylor.
there.
She had a 10th grade assembly, not this past Tuesday, but Tuesday before, and said this quote. The sad thing is that, ladies, if someone has not told you this before, I'm going to tell you this now. Unless you're a size 0 or a 2 and you wear something like that, even though you're not fat, you look fat. So someone recorded this and let the press know. What she was talking about was leggings, and that you shouldn't wear leggings unless you're a size 0 or 2.
Yeah, it was like an assembly, right?
Yeah, it's like a 10th grade assembly.
She said it like to the students, to their faces.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm doing you an act of service. Here's the deal, girls. Don't wear leggings because you look fat. First of all, I wear leggings all the time. Like, all the time.
So ridiculous.
And so the fact that she said that you can't wear them, and first of all, let's talk a little bit about what that means, because
she said if you were like a size 0 or 2, you could.
Right, because if you're not, then you would, so you, even though you're not fat, you look fat. So let's talk about a little bit, like, what does that mean, like, looking fat, and why that's bad.
Right.
Because, so I don't understand what that means. Like, maybe it's not the most flattering, maybe I don't want to see your camel toe.
You know how I feel about this. Leggings are not pants. I do not feel like people should be wearing leggings no matter. I don't care if you're 2.5 pounds. I don't care if you're like unless you're literally a toddler, unless you literally have a diaper on, that's like literally the only time I want you wearing leggings.
Wait, but are you talking about leggings, or are you talking about like pantyhose?
I'm not talking about pantyhose. I'm talking about leggings. I'm talking about leggings. If you don't have a shirt on that covers your hoo-ha, I don't want to see it. And maybe some 4 and 5 year old girls can wear them too. But I don't think leggings are pants at all. Like, meaning.
So you have to have something that covers your butt and your
That's
cooch.
me. That's if I'm at a school, that would be the rule I would set as a principal. But it has nothing to do with fat. It has to do with vagina lips. I don't want to see them.
Why? What's wrong with vagina lips?
I mean, I guess there's not anything wrong with them really in the grand scheme of things, but I personally don't want to see your camel. I don't want to see it.
I don't know what this is.
That was me trying to like show you how they look. They're like that.
But see, like, I just kind of feel like it's none of your business what I wear. I mean, I guess because when I was a kid, people always told me that I couldn't do this or couldn't do that because it was a distraction to the boys. Yeah. And so I feel like, so I have to change instead of the boys changing.
Right.
So I guess I just feel like.
I also went to Catholic school. So, like, all bets are off.
I know, you're very rigid.
Like,
you're very modest.
Rigid. You're very rigid.
Kathy's like, Eva, can you leave the room changing? And I'm like, come on, we're both girls. We both have tots.
I'm like, can I just scoot around the corner behind this door?
I know, I'm like, really? You're so weird. I'm like, you're so weird.
We were not nudists.
I'm like, I'm naked. I'm naked. Here I am.
We were not nudists. We were not. No, we could not hang in the Deitch household. And maybe that's because you have 3 sisters and I have 3 brothers.
See, the funny thing is I don't really change in front of my sisters. I think I had a friend who was like, we would always change in front of. So I feel like, I guess, I don't know.
But that would be my point of view. Like, I don't care how thin or fat you are. I don't think leggings are pants. Like, go get yoga pants. Like, yoga pants are pants. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
like,
but
a legging is not a
I
pant.
still think that she probably thinks that yoga pants are probably in the same thing because they're form-fitting.
I mean, I feel that way too. I really feel like, by the way, the thing that you read is the thing she said after the thing. Like,
oh, I thought that's what she said in it.
She said this was the follow-up.
No, it says that this is what she said at the 10th grade assembly.
But there was I'm so sorry. I thought I had put in a quote where I posted on our Facebook page where there was a follow-up and she literally just kept putting her foot further and further into her mouth. And basically people were like, you have to care about the school board and you have to get her out. Like, you have to vote for people on the school board if you don't want that in your school. Like, there's no way to stop her. Like, this is not a fireable offense. You know, that they were like, if you don't want her to be principal, then you have to elect a new school board and they have to be the ones to fire her, basically. And I mean, I just feel like there needs to be education. Like, they need somebody sent to them to talk to them about body positivity. Like, hire Jess Baker, guys. Like,
or let's not. Why do we have to say the word fat? Like, why can't you say they're just not flattering, or they're see-through, so it's not appropriate for school attire? Right. Or there's so many other ways that she could have addressed it. Yeah. Instead of putting it in terms of fat shaming and being like, oh, well, I'm not a size 2, I'm a size 4, so I must be fat, and so then I'm in this downward spiral of I want to wear leggings and I can't because my principal told me I look fat and fat must be bad, and it just kind of goes into this downward spiral of it, and where there's so many other ways that she could have said it and got a point across of, please don't wear leggings to school because they're inappropriate.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, a lot of schools do have uniforms now, and that always helps with the economic differences. Like, I was like bussed into a school that was on the other side of the tracks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was in the poorer part of town and we got bussed into like the hoity-toity. Oh. Yeah. But by the way, like, now that I'm older, like, that wasn't even the hoity-toity, but to me it was like they were millionaires. Right, like, you have a house that's its own thing and not attached to another house. Like, it was like amazing. Like, you have 2 side yards and a backyard. Like, you know.
See, but you were very fancy. You lived in a house. We lived in an apartment. We were like, I was like, I know. You live in a house.
But when I went to that school, when you're all in uniforms, you don't know any better.
You don't know that.
Like, right. There is something visually that, like, is really helpful with a school uniform. So there is a part of me that, like, feels like it's okay to tell kids, You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing a uniform, that makes sense. Like, or these are our rules because we want people inside of them. So other people don't feel like we're wearing brands or we're wearing, you know what I mean?
Right. And we're wearing, like if someone brought a Louis Vuitton purse to school, then you'd be like, oh.
Yeah. So there's like, it cuts down the competition that way. Like, and it makes
and
it be about
I
other
understand.
things.
And it's about like, not have judging people on their economic
but no
status.
But this is a hot mess. I mean, she's a hot mess. She needs to be schooled. I almost emailed her. I got her email address.
I saw it in the draft. I saw it in the draft. Like,
she almost got an angry email from me.
An angry Kathy Deitch Philly email. You guys know what? Do you guys know what that looks like? Because I've been on the other end of a Kathy Deitch Philly meltdown.
But not at you.
No, not at me. Praise Jesus.
People are agreeing with us.
No, not at me. It was at somebody else, but I was the one who heard it.
Yeah. My sister says it is not okay to make girls wear skirts and boys wear pants. That was one of the things my sister was screaming about.
Oh,
yes.
at somebody I know, her daughter was at school, and the girls had to stop wearing skirts to mass. They weren't allowed to wear skirts to mass because of the distraction it was for the boys.
What?
Yeah. So then on mass days, they had to wear shorts or pants.
Shorts? We would never. I mean, it was the longest.
They
time
were like long
mom,
shorts.
Before
they were
my
long
mom,
shorts.
it was the longest time before my mom ever let us wear shorts to church. Like a really long time.
But it was like, mass in school. You know how they do that? Like, if you're going to go to Catholic school.
Oh, yeah,
you
girl.
Know.
Yeah, we used to walk across. We used to do May procession outside in our little communion dress.
I don't even know what
I know
May
about. Okay,
procession
let's
is,
move on from this. Let's talk about other things.
We have to talk about the Toronto Orchestra Group. Dun, dun, dun.
Which is no longer. Which has shuttered.
Good. I mean, it's a little bit ridiculous.
This is like another thing. It's like, you're not fit to sing? Like, you're not fit enough to sing, meaning physically fit enough to sing.
No, it's not even physically fit. It was like, I don't want to look at you.
Yeah.
Because
you're wearing...
You have had too many indulgences, and so that must affect your singing voice. I'm like, bitch, how many operas have you seen? There's like the fat lady is in every opera.
Wait.
Come on.
Like, even the stereotype is with us. But here's this is what... there was an email that went out to, I think, all female members, by the way. None of the men had any issues, right?
Oh, because if you're a man, it doesn't matter if you're chubs.
It doesn't matter. So the email went out saying performers who are physically fit and slim will only be showcased with its boutique orchestras, although almost all our vocalists are fit and slim, the way our boutique orchestra would like our frontline performing arts to be. 2 of our featured singers were not. We hope that they would, as such, refrain from using tight-fitting dresses and use loose, less physically revealing, less physically accentuating dresses instead.
There was another part that I don't know how it didn't get onto here, but it was like you need to dress appropriately to hide your food indulgences.
Yeah. It said, it literally said you might have had an indulgent week. Like, it was like, basically,
so you gotta wear a ruche to cover.
I was gonna say, this dress would not be allowed at that orchestra, boy.
I just want to know why any sort of size matters when you're singing, because really, shouldn't it be like we want the best singers?
Eva,
and size has nothing to do with that.
Of course, in the world that would make a totally sense. That would make total sense if it wasn't an insane world. But there was something that happened with pop music when all of a sudden straight white men decided they wanted all.
Oh, you mean Simon Cowell?
Well, but in his defense, that this was already happening in the 80s. Like,
yes, I know, but at least Simon Cowell has somewhat changed his mindset on how someone has to look.
Yeah, it's really
Simon
ridiculous.
Cowell, who's like the meanest person in musical business industry.
Yeah,
the musical industry
well,
has slightly changed his view.
I think that a lot of people are worse, quite honestly. I don't think just in the small part I've had in the music industry, like a teeny tiny. I think he is the one who somehow with a British accent could say it on national television.
Right.
They all say 18,000 times worse things to people every day.
Oh, I'm sure of
it's
it.
Wretched. I mean, the fact
But he's just the one that everybody knows who he is. He's in the public eye and knows that he's mean.
Something happened like when rock and roll started, people wanted people in certain packages and popular music really shifted. And then like Whitney Houston became the ideal, like who, by the way, that documentary that's on Showtime about her, that's like a whole other day.
Oh, I saw it and I was like, not ready yet.
It's so good, but also so devastating. But she was like a unicorn. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the fact that she was built like that, the fact that she was as gorgeous as she was, the fact that she had like crazy facility as young as 12, like to sing that way, like it was really, really like that. She's not the norm, so now everyone's like trying to be that norm,
right?
And which is why we're watching Mariah Carey fall apart. Like, Mariah Carey was not that, and they tried to make her into that cookie cutter, which is why like the first
why she's just straight up crazy now.
Well, wouldn't you be driven crazy if someone like was trying to like make you into something you're completely not? So then this is somebody who feels bold enough for an orchestra, by the way, a small local orchestra, to feel like, no, we should be at those standards too. And by the way, instead of like apologizing and coming correct, literally this doesn't exist anymore. They dismantled the volunteer
Toronto orchestra group has shut their doors.
Shut down.
They're just
instead of just coming out and being like, we're so sorry that happened. I hope all of those people that were not in charge get together and regroup and call themselves something spectacular and wear all the fucking dresses they want to wear.
And just chub out and eat whatever the hell they want.
Exactly. And wear whatever they need to wear.
Yeah.
Please.
Just feel good and just kill the songs. Like, isn't that the point?
I think so. Anyway, so we're going to take another quick break and we're going to real quick and we're going to come back because we have to talk about Bill Maher from the week we were out, guys. All right, we'll be back at PlusThis.
Promotional consideration brought to you by Melissa Massey. Custom clothing isn't exclusively for the rich and famous. Melissa Massey is custom-made clothing for everyday wear. A unique combination of custom tailoring and deluxe fabrics that is well made and fit for every size and frame. Made in LA, sold in LA, and online at melissamassey.com.
Someone just commented that fashion was a sense of self for them, which I find very interesting at school, probably.
Oh, that was how I was.
Yeah. I mean, even in my uniform, I would always like have like all kinds of pins and brooches and like wear big earrings when I could.
I was like always like a weird step ahead of everybody in the fashion world. Like I got made fun of a lot for dressing differently than the most of the girls. I would always be like ahead of like the music curve too. Like I was like into grunge before everybody else was kind of into grunge, and then like was into hip hop before everybody else was. Like I don't know, it was just kind of weird.
Did you have people that like put you in that direction?
I think like my cousin did a lot. Yeah. I had an older cousin who would like expose me to a lot of music, and
that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But yeah, totally. I mean, and in high school, I was like, in junior high and high school, I would always like do weird things with my hair, and like people just thought I was a real weirdo. But I just expressed myself in that way. My mom would always say to me, Eva, I don't care what you wear as long as you have a lovely personality. And I'd be like, fine, Mom, fine. I'll do that. Then, God, I'll do that.
Oh my God, guys. That's
just a brat.
Hilarious.
Just a brat.
That's hilarious. Okay, so not this past Friday, but literally we were on the air talking about Bill Maher. We found that quote from his blog, and then he literally did a 7-minute piece or something
on his new rules.
And about 4 out of the 6 minutes were about this. I kind of have to read it, and maybe you can take over at one point.
Okay.
Sometimes bipartisanship isn't the solution, it's the problem. You might be surprised at how many times the far left and the far right, otherwise known as the right, actually work together to make a problem worse. And then he listed a couple of things, and then he went on. There's something I like to call the bipartisan pro-fat movement, despite the fact that obesity counts for 18% of the deaths in America. And a huge chunk of our healthcare bill is the main reason, and is the main reason people wear sweatpants in public. Terrible joke. By the way, crickets. I mean,
like
a
literally
lot of this,
nobody. Everyone was kind of like.
It really was. It was kind of great that audience. He at one point yelled at them and was like,
"Come on,
yeah, fuck you,
yeah,
you know it's true."
And so it goes on and says, in liberal circles, the worst thing anyone can ever do is mention weight because that's fat shaming. And to conservatives, any attempt to even offer guidelines about what to eat, well, that smells like social engineering as opposed to freedom, which smells like bacon.
So he goes, I'm going to skip a little bit, but he says, I'm sorry, but pretending everyone is beautiful at any size is not helping them. It's enabling them. But among the shaming police, the most important message you could ever send an obese person is that your body is perfect just the way it is, prone on a gurney.
Prone on a gurney, guys. He's basically said that fat people should die.
And that our point was, it's so funny you're talking about bipartisanship, Bill Maher, because that's literally the point we were making about the alt-right guys who told poor Heather Heyer that it was good that she was dead. She wasn't a drain on society because she was so fat. So you're actually part of this bipartisan problem that we're having. I mean, it's real. It's...
I guess the thing that I just don't understand is... how is telling somebody that they're beautiful and lovely just the way they are enabling them? I don't understand how showing someone love and compassion and embracing them fully is enabling someone.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not shoving pizza down their throat. You're just loving them and telling them that they're worthy of love. I mean, and we don't have to shun people because they're bigger because I just think that probably Bill Maher is a miserable person because he's a short guy and he lives in a world where you're not, as a man, you're not equal if you're not tall, if you're not handsome, and he's neither of those things.
So let's pick on.
So let's find another way to pick on somebody, and Eva really kind of feel sad for him and I feel like
it's so true.
I feel like, honestly, if I met Bill Maher, which I have met Bill Maher, and he was actually very kind to me, and I was fat, I just feel like he wouldn't say those things to my face.
Right.
I feel like he'd be like, oh, well, you're not that fat.
Right.
Right.
Well, also, it's like he still wants to have his jokes.
Right. And there is a line of you're trying to be a comedian, you're trying to be funny, but he's also making social change too.
Yeah. Oh, but this is terrible.
No, it's horrible.
This is almost unconscionable. And it's really this is more Nazi than he realizes.
Oh, totally.
Like, this is probably how the Nazis felt too, about what people physically looked like. If you look at pictures of those horrible, grotesque cartoons of Jewish people, they always had like a big belly and a hook nose. Like, right. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were not. So you took the Jew part out, but that's still Nazi thinking. And the fact that we know people. We just spent all of that time with Lisa, Mustang Sally too.
Right.
Telling her like unbelievable journey about like the things she's tried to do in order to not be as big as she is. And then you want to know what? She accepted herself. She decided that she was beautiful no matter what, and like, or at least was going to tell herself that every day. And literally her entire life expanded. And you know what? She's not a drain on the system.
Right.
And all these numbers that he has pulled, I went and researched them. They're literally from like years and years and years ago. Like I feel like the 18% thing came in like 2003, and we know better now. And part of the reason why overweight people they are finding are at higher risk is because they don't want to go to the doctors because doctors shame them.
Right.
So, guys, like, we got to get with the program and, like, the new thinking. And if you're going to be progressive everywhere, Bill Maher, you need to be fucking progressive about this, too. Like, you can't be a 1950s asshole about this fucking, too. Like, you got to, like, show
Here's
the
her
fuck
Delco.
up. I'm sorry, my Delco came up. Is there anyone have anything to say about that?
I don't know.
I'm looking. I don't know.
You look.
I'm
it's hard to
looking.
look, guys. It's really hard because your guys are slightly behind us a little bit. But we can move on, I suppose, to Project Runway.
Yes, let's do that.
They have curve models on this year. I don't know why I'm doing this. I mean, I am doing it, but
we learned the lesson. We learned the lesson about Project Runway, like about modeling from straight curve, right?
yeah, that straight curve documentary. Which, if you haven't seen it yet, guys, go
Epics.
get Epics right now.
Just go do a trial, whatever. They have things like you
Yeah.
can go watch it. It's awesome. So we know now that like nobody is saying that those models are plus size. Like
Right. It's like they have a slight curve instead of a straight up and down body. That's basically what I learned.
yeah. So that they are usually hovering around the 8 to 10.
And are
size,
6 feet tall.
and are very, very tall, and that is the same as these models on the show. There's
one girl who has like
who's fabulous. Do we have pictures of her,
yes.
Jarvis? She's like real fabulous.
No, that's Kesha.
Oh, that's the VMAs.
No, those are the VMAs, which we'll talk about in a second.
There she is.
There she is. Yeah,
Yeah, really beautiful.
she's so stunning, and we can't wait to see what they do with her.
Oh
all
yeah,
season.
it's gonna be. And I guess there was an incident that one of the contestants was whining about.
I don't know how to do this. What am I gonna do with her?
And they were like not having it at all. They basically were like, "Sorry, girl, like,
Figure it out."
Figure it out." Yeah. So we don't want to give too much away, but have fun watching that, guys, because we definitely are biting our nails out really, and also like to see what they create, because there was this one outfit with like this pink skirt, and it was sort of like it was supposed to. It reminded me a lot of Timothy Snell's bathing suit line, where it was like this red carpet look, but it had like a sporty twist to it.
Oh.
And so it was like a pink skirt with like a racing stripe like edging on it, and it was just really cool. I was like, oh yeah, and that would be something you would wear to the VMAs. So it's a great way to segue into the VMAs. So Lizzo gives me life.
Lizzo is our favorite Rizzo.
And she wore Truth Hurts on a dress on the red carpet, and
To the VMAs.
She's
Just
amazing.
killing it.
She's really, really brilliant. I have tickets to when she's here at the La Fonda. Yeah, if you want to come with me,
I mean,
I hope you join me.
we'll see if you're lucky.
If I'm lucky, I'll get Eva to go with
Well,
me.
or Kathy will be like, "Oh, sorry, I forgot that I asked somebody else to go,
Yikes.
so I'm gonna have to pass."
I've done that before.
She has
Sorry,
done
guys.
that to me before.
I'm so sorry. I have done. I'm getting really good at putting stuff into my calendar. But also, Kesha made an appearance. It was like the first time since all this stuff has happened with her lawsuit. And she looked beautiful. And, you know, you see pictures of her from like even 7 years ago now it is, her
Right.
last red carpet. And she definitely does look different, but she definitely had an eating disorder 7 years ago, and now she doesn't. So I thought she looked beautiful and like was still risky and was showing her body, and I loved it.
And it was a stunning dress.
Yeah.
Although she did get on both worst and best dressed. I don't even know how that happens, but
Well, because it's all relative. That's how it
yeah,
happens.
it's subjective. Sure.
For sure. And I went to an event.
I wish we had pictures of it.
I know.
You're
but
so
you were gonna have to.
beautiful, and
Oh,
I'm so
that's
sad that I
nice.
couldn't go.
I know. Everyone missed
I am
you.
going to borrow that skirt.
Oh yes, for sure.
Wow.
Hey, guys, go to our Instagram if you want to see what I wore. I got to wear a Melissa Massey
Top.
lace tunic, and then I put an Eloquise skirt on with it. That's solid sequin.
And the light on it
Yeah.
is just makes
It
the
was-
skirt look super magical. I was like,
it was really, really cool. So really fun thing happened. I got to meet Tess Holliday and her husband Nick on the dance floor. They literally started the dance floor, of course, because they're just cool. And I went over to them, and she's like, "Look, you're the disco ball." I'm like, my secrets are everywhere. So we ended up chatting. Our boobs touched like 4 or 5 times, and finally we just like smashed them together. And she's hilarious. She literally is kind of like unreally beautiful in real life, and you know, in her pictures she's so gorgeous and beautiful, but really everyone was mesmerized by her. She is maybe 5 feet tall. Her husband and her are like little bookends. He is so kind and so funny, and they were so in love and just dancing their heads off, and it was a great night. We just love Penny Lane Centers, guys.
Yes,
if you haven't checked them out, go pennylanecenters.org. They're a foster care transitional homes. They're homes for transitional housing. I'm so sorry I'm messing this up. Transitional housing for foster kids and also for homeless families. And they've been doing it for decades. And they're just growing and growing and really having programs to take care of those kids that didn't have, like, you know, really like your dad did, like, you know, who didn't have things go their way when they were young, and like, how do we get them to have their opportunities? So we're looking forward to working with them.
It's just such a wonderful organization that they've built, and we're so proud that and honored that they, you know, are opening their homes to us for us to work with some of the girls, and we hope to teach them some self-love.
Yeah, and like at least figure out what we figured out. Like, we're hardly experts, but we're figuring out some stuff, which is great.
Yeah.
And we're realizing, we kind of went to that meeting, and it was, you know, a bunch of women who are around our age, maybe a little bit older, and we're like spewing our stuff at them. Shouldn't say spew. We were like really excited and like kept quoting all of these things, and they literally were like, "You guys are teaching us stuff." Like,
yeah.
So what we're realizing is that being saturated in this every week and having to come up and show up for you guys, we're starting to learn how to talk about it and how to make people open up their eyes. And Bill Maher, I think you should have us on your show as guests so we can tell you some things about it. Because that would be tremendous to get to like an audience that usually laughs at your stupid fat jokes. Are we ending there? Did we get to everything we wanted to get to? I think we did. Guys, thank you for the hot topics.
Do we have any questions? I think we have like 1 minute left.
I don't know why my computer doesn't show me all the things. Oh, wait. Liking and commenting. Wait.
See? Kathy Deitch should not be in charge of
my sister said,
technical.
I can't believe someone had the balls to say that. I think Lizzo is getting all kinds of love because how can she not?
How could she not?
She's on tour, guys. She's going on tour. I don't have any more. I don't have any questions. It's not refreshing.
That's fine.
We'll answer them, guys.
I just want to say thank you guys so much for understanding that we took last week off, and I just want to honor my dad. Love you, Dad. Miss you.
And your sister says she loves her Melissa Massey dresses.
Oh, my sister. Guys. First time we ever went shopping together and could try on clothes together was the best.
Fun times.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for hanging in. We'll see you next week at Plus This.